discount price. And we distributed it by the thousands, by the millions. Just a big pamphlet. It's still printed. We still print it today. Very attractive. It had 2 essays. And of course, the one that struck me was the essay was Who is Crazy? Prabhupada had an essay called Who is Crazy? And of course, the title essay was Reservoir of Pleasure. Krishna, the Reservoir. So when I read that, you can say that there was a slight glimmer. I understood that this is unique. Because it's like a sample. It's just barely a few pages. You hold it like this. But I thought just a few pages have this much knowledge that I have to see what the other books are. That the devotee was showing me that I didn't take, that big Bhagavad Gita. That I didn't appreciate. But then I had the taste. And then I was eager. So it's necessary. Book distribution is absolutely essential. Give that sample of knowledge to someone. Then he wants the full taste. He wants the whole 10-course meal. We just got a sample. You know, when you go to these places, a lot of times the vendors, you know, you go, you pass all the sabji walas, the fruit walas, and they want you to taste their fruit. Who has the sweetest? And they give you another taste. They give you a piece of apple, a piece of orange. And then according to that taste, you buy so much. And of course, in India, that sample is not from the fruit that you purchased. He keeps some sweet pieces on the side, and he gives you a bag full of all this kacha fruit. And you don't know till you get home, 10 kilometers away. 3 hours later, you eat this piece of fruit, and it's, oh, what is this? That's okay. That's a lesson. That's another lesson. So anyway, Krishna is very kind to us. He gives us so much. Difficult to understand and appreciate everything. But if we do it slowly, in the association of devotees, we are guaranteed success. This is the point. People think, oh, I have to leave the system. I'm not getting... What did that one devotee say, our God willing? He said, there's no bhajan here. He told Srila Prabhupada, there's no bhajan. That was his excuse. Prabhupada asked, why are you leaving? So there's no bhajan. What does that mean, bhajan? And he asked Prabhupada's blessings to seek out another guru. What a foolish person, no? It's almost inconceivable. Ask Prabhupada's blessings to seek out another guru. And I'm sure he got one, but he wasn't happy.
I know the reply. You have my blessings to go to hell.
Yes, you have my blessings to go to hell. That was Prabhupada's response. And in that response, I would see him wandering in Vrindavan because he thinks he's a scholar. This is the problem. Prabhupada said, over-intelligent. They study a little Sanskrit and then they think there's more intelligence in their spiritual master. It was very dangerous. He was one of Prabhupada's Sanskrit efforts. And he wasn't the only one that happened to. So it's a very dangerous thing. You're reading something and there's no purport, typically, just the Sanskrit. Sometimes there's purport. But it's that whether or not you have the ability to appreciate, according to your level of understanding, the reality of what you're reading. There's a different, even when we read Bhagavad Gita the first time, I understood something. And then I read it the second time and I thought I'm reading a different book. What happened? And then I read it the third time, and again it's a different book. But it's not a different book. But the consciousness is different. Chaita Darpana Marjan. Cleansing the mirror of the heart. So this is, you know, and these things everyone knows now. In the beginning it was, we appreciate it, but now it's a firm fact. How according to Dara, Justamova, Lokana, as you're coming through the modes of material nature, there's purification. Just like it's described here in a simple way, using the example of food. But food is not our problem in this life. But consciousness can still be a challenge. One has to cultivate that consciousness. It's not happening without endeavor. And we know all the shlokas, Jayatama, Bhagavad, all these things are there. Krishna's, and actually Prabhupada gave an analogy here in Vrindavan, using that shloka, Jayatama, Bhagavad. He said, people are coming to Vrindavan after their work life, married life, family life, and they're trying to make arrangements with the family, with the wife, saying, my dear wife, my dear children, I'm going to Vrindavan now. I am retired. Everything I have is yours. My 2 lakhs, 2 crores, land, helicopter, everything is yours. You simply give me 200 rupees for my maintenance. So he's given his wife and family and children 2 lakhs, 2 crores, everything. And he wants to go to Vrindavan, and for Krishna, he's giving 200 rupees, or keeping 200 rupees, or even less. Because he's thinking, I have to eat, I have to sleep, I have to, whatever. So Prabhupada said, okay, Krishna is very smart. He said, so if you are for me 200 rupees, then I am for you 200 rupees. Okay, so if you're for Krishna 200 rupees, then he's for you 200 rupees. Very simple, nothing complex. You don't need 10 levels of philosophical understanding to appreciate the simple truth. You know, that accompany Bhagavad Gita. One has to just practice what he's learned according to his realization. And that will allow him to have that faith in the spiritual master and Krishna. And to gradually realize whatever he has read, because that is the real food stuff. We've read, someone thinks so. And sometimes you wonder, someone comes to Krishna consciousness, they stay for some time and they go. And you wonder, okay, how many books did they read? How deeply did they try to understand and appreciate? How many questions did they ask? And what did they do in their short time? And what led them to it? And mostly, from my analysis, they did not form any friendship, meaningful friendship, with the devotees. They maintained some separate attitude for whatever reason. Somebody's thinking, oh, I don't know, this person, or whatever. They have so many material excuses. You know, Henry Street Temple, there were devotees from all levels of life. Economic, social. Nobody was wearing a label. I'm MSN, MBA, this, that, the other. But if you talk to the devotees casually, you find out, yes, this person went to this school, he was a graduate, double certificate, this, that, the other. But nobody, we were all doing exactly the same thing. Serving the spiritual master, serving Krishna. And forming lasting bonds of friendship that have come up to this point, 44 years. Now, for me, I'm a new person. I'm not as old as, I'm not as senior as some of my godbrothers. But still, those friendships, those are very special. Very special. And they allow you to, in difficult times, to have the confidentiality. Because what does it say? We know that. It's not that I'm giving this everybody a gift. What is the gift? The gift is that we share the gift of Krishna consciousness with one another. You know, if there's some difficulty, then I'm there. For you, come, let's discuss what's the problem. And this has been a great neglected aspects of the movement. We have so many things, devotee care, devotee this, but it is up to the individual to reach out and make these relationships. Not that you go to an office and you have a relationship. You know, I mean, that's there. That can be there. If there's nothing else, by all means. In some material distress, one has to take shelter. He has no other recourse. And yes, there's always that safety net. Always that safety net. One should be having his close friends all the time. He shouldn't have to. He has his. That is just a fact, a personal realization. I can't say that everyone has the same realization. But I know that my friendships in Krishna consciousness were the most valuable thing. The most valuable thing, the association of devotees who are pure in heart, pure in motive, pure in actions, who actually lead by example, teach by example, and serve the spiritual master selflessly. If you find such devotee friends like that, then you must take advantage of the situation. Otherwise, you're only missing out on this great opportunity. So I can just, now that time is short, should ask if there's any questions or comments, and we'll have first and the schedule?
Yeah, hours
Yeah, it's a funny thing. We never thought of it that way. Prabhupada said from morning till 10 o'clock at night. That was our hours. From morning till 10 o'clock at night. We would rise early. Yes.
One time, Srila Prabhupada, he was giving some donation to Srila Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada asked Guru Kripa to, if he can double the donation. So Guru Kripa, he agreed. But then after some time he went to Prabhupada and he told Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, we do good distribution, we do Harinam, we do daily worship, we collecting Lakshmi. Practically we working 18 hours a day. And Prabhupada say, 18 hours only? Or program is 24 hours a day?
But at least 18. From morning till night. Prabhupada told us, you should be asleep within 10 seconds of your head hitting the pillow. And there was no question. Matter of fact, I used to remember devotees falling asleep before their head hit the pillow. You would see, on the way down, they would already be asleep. Standing up, they would be asleep. As a matter of fact, at that time when I joined, there was a transitional period between one temple president and another. And our GBC man, it wasn't our GBC, but he was put by Prabhupada there. He was telling that, because we would go out on distribution on the subways and whatnot, and we had an order. It was actually what you could call a standing order. We were not allowed to sit down. And the reason we weren't allowed to sit down is because as soon as we sat down, we would fall asleep. And it was, nobody wanted, our temple authorities realized that that's not a good example. That devotees are sitting on the subways and they're sleeping. So we would distribute, but we had to stand all the time on the subways, back and forth, until we came back to the temple. And that was basically all day. Now, everyone had to come back by Sunda Arti. So you went out, morning time, whatever, devotees would rise very early, 2:30, they finished their rounds even before going out. And then, depending on if you were book distribution or Harinam, you would go one or the other. But then everybody came back for 7 o'clock Arti. We called it spiritual sandwich. Morning program, evening program. And 7 o'clock Arti in Henry Street is very special. You can find these kirtans. They're called New York kirtans. They were famous. All the different devotees. Some of the artists, Parikshit and Bharadwaj, Agnidev, and Mangalananda, Jasachi a little later, but Jasachi has Santosh, but many, many devotees. Very ecstatic kirtans, New York kirtans. He was a little later, but yeah, Vishnu. Such special. So everybody rushed back to the temple, rushed into the shower, got dressed, and came to the temple for Radha Govinda. That was our reward for the hard work of the day. That's all you need. And after that, then everybody went up to the gallery where all the paintings hung, where we would do plays and whatnot, and read Krishna book, hot milk, and popcorn. Is that popcorn? Everybody know what popcorn is?
Of course. Yeah, they sell it here in Rome Bazaar.
They sell it in but here if you eat it, it's sandy. They cook it in sand. So I tasted it one time when I first came to live here many years ago, and I was thinking, you're eating this popcorn, but there's sand in it. I said, how can you enjoy it? It's like sweet rice with sand, but popcorn with sand. So it was it. I never tried it again after this. It was terrible. Now they may have it a different method. They would put the kernels in hot sand in a wok, and they would just move it around inside the wok, and the hot sand would pop the corn. So that was the old Vrindavan popcorn. Maybe they made some
No more sand. They just put it in the
sand,
wok.
just a different popcorn. Who? You had a question?
Yeah.
Give them a microphone so people can hear.
Yeah, I don't do that before.
Oh, it's going to go all the way around.
For the people listening on the radio, they can't hear it.
New York, Brooklyn was a fertile ground, and there were devotees just waiting. I mean, on the street where I lived, my childhood friend, I found out just a few years ago that his older sister was a devotee, Sama Priya. Lives in the Lacho.
Sure.
They were everywhere. And in my particular neighborhood, Canarsie, there were a bunch of devotees came from New York. I mean, it was just perfect timing.
Actually, Prabhupada indicated, that's why in the Lilamrita it's called planting the seed. Because the seeds were already planted, he said, by my Guru Maharaj. Actually, in Chaitanya Bhagavad, it implies that the Senapati Bhakt, the commander-in-chief, will go to that place to recover those souls who have been strategically placed. Just like when you have an army in a battle, just like in Kurukshetra, the armies are strategically placed in order to maximize their effectiveness against the opponent. So somehow or other, Prabhupada knew to come to New York that this was fertile ground. Because we say somehow or other, but we know that it was Krishna. And you know, these early devotees that were there and came to assist Srila Prabhupada, these were all special souls, no doubt. Whatever's going on since then, this is all historical, meant for our appreciation and understanding. No one can deny the significance and the contribution, you know, that helped this great movement to blossom. You know, when we think, we had a program at Tompkins Square Park over the course of the summer with Bhakti Chula Maharaj. All in New York, we just put out an invitation for New York devotees, please come. And many came. Many who had been actively participating, for whatever reason. It happens. Devotees kind of move to the margin of the society. And no engagement or whatever, something. But we had an ecstatic kirtan. And we had Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja feast at 22nd Avenue with a big gathering, which overflowed into what they now call the Bhakti Center. It used to be the sanctuary. But very, very pleasant. And actually, when we were cleaning in the evening, after everybody leaves, This is the nectar. You get to clean. You appreciate the fruits of the hard work that goes in, and you see who remains at the end to do some of the remainder things. So it's always nice you get to preach. Sometimes you can grab a new person, say, can you help clean up? Stick around for a few minutes. And it was probably about close to midnight, so we were still cleaning. And all of a sudden I see in the door, who comes in the door is Pradyumna. Our godmother Pradyumna. Prabhupada used to call Pradyumna, well he still calls it Panditji. So it was Panditji. But Pradyumna is a very special devotee. He has wisdom beyond his years. And he's completely detached from the material, how can you say, concept of life. He does his service in such a way, and he works a very important service, interfaith relations for the United Nations, and he has a teaching position. I can't remember, Rutgers or Princeton, very prestigious institutions. But he's still the same simple, friendly soul that I knew back then. And you have to appreciate these qualities. These are the qualities of a devotee. Someone who has that equanimity, equipoised. He sees things through the transcendental understanding of the scripture. Because he studied everything in the original Sanskrit and helped Srila Prabhupada in all of these translations. So you meet such great souls like this. And this movement has many. We just have to sometimes seek them out a little bit, get their mercy. They're just like a treasure house. You just have to unlock it. One just like in the Gita it says, Hari Prashnena. Has to be some submissive increment. And you don't get anything by force.